Hello, everybody. Good to see you again. I guess I don't get to see you, but you get to see me. This is Thursday, and we are in First Kings, and we are looking at how Jesus is present in the Old Testament or Hebrew Scriptures. So things have gone from bad to worse. You remember David, he was always looking to God's will. Then his son Solomon took over. He started out well by saying that he wanted to be wise and ask God for the gift of wisdom, which he used. But then he got pretty stupid in marrying a bunch of foreign wives and following their gods and building altars to their gods up on the hills around the Temple Mount, which didn't make God very happy. Well, then his son Rehoboam is even worse. So in the lesson today, what we find out is that Rehoboam asks his older advisors, should I be harsher than my dad Solomon, or should I be more lenient? And the older advisors say, if you are willing to be a servant to these people today and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your loyal subjects. So they say, well, ease up a little bit, and these people will follow you anywhere. And so then Rehoboam goes and asks his young buddies that he grew up with, young bucks, got a lot of testosterone, I guess. And he says, what do you think I should do? And they say, well, here's what you should say. You should say, my little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Now, little finger is a nice euphemism for what he's actually saying here. You have to think a little more nasty than that. Says, my little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Yes, my father laid heavy burdens on you, but I'm going to make them even heavier. That's what the young people, you should be even tougher than your father was. Really show them who's boss. And so stupidly, Rehoboam doesn't listen to the words of experience and years of experience. He listens to some young bucks that have way too much testosterone. So what happens, he goes to the crowd and he repeats this thing to the crowd. And meanwhile, Jeroboam, not Rehoboam, but Jeroboam is down south waiting to come in and take over when things go bad. Well, he tells the crowd that. Well, they don't react well to that. He sends enforcers, and the crowd pretty much takes care of them, kills them. And so Rehoboam has to go back now to Jerusalem, and all he's in charge of now is Jerusalem and the area of Judah, the southern area of Israel. All of the northern tribes, 11 of the 12 tribes, have now gone away from him. There's a civil war. And now Jeroboam comes up from the south, takes over, and now you have a civil war or whatever. Jeroboam is even worse in that he starts building altars to foreign gods, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. So how does this relate to Jesus? Well, at some point here, they say, here's a little thing that they say to Rehoboam. When the people of Israel realized that the king had refused to listen to them, they responded, down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Back to your homes, O Israel. Look out for your own house, O David. So they're saying, we're going to think about ourselves and forget about the house of David, which is, you remember, God promises to bless the entire world through the house of David. So now the house of David is very small. It doesn't look much like it's going to help the rest of the world. Well, Jesus comes along, and he is from the house of David, the house and lineage of David. And he comes and he says in Matthew 10, 5 through 7, he says, I am here for the lost sheep of Israel. In other words, the tribes that have gone away. I'm here to bring them into myself because the kingdom of God is near. So here is the fulfillment of that prophecy, that the house of David would have a king that would last forever, that would be a royal king. And here it goes. Even though that house of David, even though they rejected that house of David back in Rehoboam and Jeroboam's time, they still the promise of God that the Messiah would come through David continues to this day. So there you go. Even though things get messed up in our lives and in our world, God's plan will always, always, always be carried out. Because after all, it's God's plan, and God is pretty powerful. So remember that today. Little things get in your way or bother you or trouble you. Remember, God has a larger plan that will work out one day, if not today. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.